Let's have some more news. Police find a dead man in a golf cart in the Villages. Man yelling racial slurs taken to the ER due to levels of intoxication. Officials in the Villages hails amenity fee cap discussion as good news. 29 positions staffing new Shallow Creek Championship golf course, now available. A GPS tracker foils suspected thief who stole an electric tricycle. A repeat road rager nabbed at Publix sentenced to 6 months in jail. Officials to finally give an approval for a site for a new restaurant. A golf cart plunges into a pond. An unlicensed immigrant arrested for driving without headlights. Owner of a home for sale on the historic site spots suspected thieves. Letters to the editor. Did we get any holes in ones of golf this week? This and more coming up. This week's news is brought to you by my Patreon and YouTube members. Thanks, guys. You're the best. Okay, let's go with what I consider to be the lead story today. The Lady Lake Police Department is conducting a death investigation after a man was found dead in his golf cart. Lady Lake police officers at about 10 p.m. Sunday responded to the area of 1 La Grande Boulevard on the historic site of the Villages and found 59-year-old man deceased in a golf cart. There were no signs of foul play. However, the cause of death is unknown. Police do not believe there is any cause for alarm in the community. The Lady Lake Police Department Criminal Investigation Division is working on collaboration with the State Medical Examiner's District 5 office to determine the circumstances surrounding his death. No additional information, including the victim's identity, is being released due to the ongoing investigation. If anyone observed this incident or has further information, contact Lady Lake Police Department at 352-751-1565. Okay, let's get on with some updates. Short and sweet. A woman who stole a medical van after being discharged from the Villages Hospital has been sentenced in the case. Margaret May Matsky, 58 of Lady Lake, has been placed on probation for 18 months as a result of a sentencing hearing this past week in Sumter County Court. Matsky was uncooperative when she was discharged in June 2023 from the hospital, now known as UF Health Spanish Plains Hospital. She climbed behind the wheel of a medical transport van and drove it out of the hospital's parking lot. A villager arrested earlier this year while driving a street-legal golf cart has seen a felony charge reduced to a ticket. The legal journey of 64-year-old David Lee Frank of the village of Lake Denham took a positive turn last week in Sumter County Court when a felony charge of driving while license suspended was dropped all the way down to a civil citation. The ticket now includes the notation that Frank was unknowingly driving with a suspended license. Initially, the Michigan native whose license was suspended in 2019 had been charged with a felony count. As the case began to unravel in court, it was reduced to a misdemeanor. I believe this is the last update today. A Village of St. Catherine resident, he is poised to escape prosecution on charges of drug and theft charges. A Village of St. Catherine resident is poised to escape prosecution on drug and theft charges. Stephen Robert Braun, 66, agreed in June to enter into a pretrial intervention contract according to the documents on file in Sumter County Court. Terms of the contract call on him to seek a substance abuse evaluation, submit to random drug screenings, and perform 80 hours of community service. He is also prohibited from possession of a firearm. If he completes the terms of the contract, the criminal charges will be dropped.
The New York native
left Walmart at Buffalo Ridge Plaza on January 13 with merchandise for which he had not paid, according to the arrest report. All right, how about some Villages news? A man who was yelling racial slurs was taken to the UF Health Emergency Room Clinic at Brownwood due to his high level and his intoxication. David Eugene Carl, 49 of Bellevue, was taken into custody at about 8 p.m. Thursday in the 500 block of Oak Street, where he was found causing a public disturbance while being intoxicated, according to the arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. Due to his level of intoxication, he was transported to the Brownwood ER, where he was belligerent and disorderly towards the medical staff. He also deliberately tripped a police officer who fell to the ground. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center, where a hold was put on his custody due to an outstanding Marion County charge. Here's what could be some good news. A possible cap on amenity fees will remain on agenda for a governing board in the Villages. The Amenity Authority Committee has agreed to keep a possible amenity fee cap on its agenda as a recurring discussion item. Longtime AAC member Don Deacon has hailed this as good news. With the cost of so many things rising and inflation taking a bigger and bigger bite for those on a fixed income, pressure has been mounting to hold the line on amenity fees. Back in 2019, there was a cap, also known as the deferral rate, which was set at $155 per month. That same year, the AAC and Project-Wide Advisory Committee decided to abandon the cap. The motivation, especially for PWAC, was fueled by grim financial forecasts, which showed that expenses would exceed revenues in the years ahead. As of January 1, the prevailing rate for new homes and resales climbed to $195 per month. Homeowners who remain in their residence are subject to amenity rate hikes in accordance with the Consumer Price Index. In 2019, the AAC has occasionally discussed the idea of returning to the cap. However, the AAC and PWAC are essentially in a marriage, and both would have to bring back the cap, something PWAC isn't likely to do. My quick thoughts is, this is why you should be very careful on who you elect. Like the PWAC, they don't want it. The AAC would kind of like to have it. When they were talking about doing away with the amenity fee cap, I said then, this is Pandora's box. You better not do it because you're just going to open the door to just free spending everywhere. And that's exactly what's been going on. $1 million for this, $1 million for that. I mean, it's just crazy. And now people's complaining. Oh, I don't like it. I want to go back. Well, once you move forward, going back can be hard because the PWC, if they don't agree, you're not going to get it. So the PWC has to agree with the AAC. AAC looks like they're ready to. PWAC, somebody in there's in somebody's hip pocket there, and they're saying, well, we don't know if we want to do that or not. Now you're stuck. So when it comes time to vote, use your head. Those of you coming down and send me emails want to know how hard would it be to get a part-time job or get a job somewhere to help supplement your income a little? Well, here's a little bit of good news. A total of 29 positions are in place to staff the newly opened Shallow Creek Championship Golf Course. The opening of the new course at the southern end of the Villages marks the 14th championship course here in
Florida's friendliest hometown.
The golf courses has created 29 new positions through the Villages district government, which last year took over golf course staffing from the developer. Positions available: a head golf professional, they need 1. Golf staff lead, they need 4. Golf shop sales associate, 10. Outside staff, 14. And in my mind, just the way I see it, that's what you want, the outside staff. You're going to be a golf ambassador, basically. You ride around in a golf cart in the summertime and ask anybody, need any sand? Need any water? Have a good day. That's all you do. A GPS tracker has foiled a suspected thief who stole an electric tricycle. The owner of the electric tricycle had placed a GPS tracker on the motorized tricycle, which was stolen in June from her home at Recreation Plantation in Lady Lake. The motorized tricycle, valued at $1,700, had been stored in the woman's carport and secured by a chain, according to the affidavit of probable cause from the Lady Lake Police Department. The chain had been cut when the electric tricycle was stolen. Images of the thief had been captured on video surveillance. Two Sonata Archon Pro electric bicycles had also been stolen in May from Recreation Plantation. They had also been secured with a chain. The GPS unit on the tricycle eventually became inoperable, but not before it provided enough clue as to where the stolen property had been hidden. A detective investigated the theft cases, went to the Blue Parrot RV Park on County Road 25 looking for the suspect, 39-year-old Jordan Jeffrey Bass of Winter Park. Though Bass was not found, the detective searched the nearby wood line and found the motorized tricycle and the electric bicycles. Bass was located a few days later and taken into custody at Lake Griffin State Park. Bass is facing charges of grand theft and burglary. He was being held on $12,500 bond at the Lake County Jail. A Nicaraguan was arrested while riding a motorcycle with a bogus Texas temporary tag on US 301 in Wildwood. Axel Eduardo Riviera Ruiz, name will be in the picture, of Kissimmee, was riding a motorcycle at about 9 a.m. Monday when an officer noticed a suspicious temporary tag, according to the arrest report. The officer immediately noted the temporary tag was too wide and thin and printed on the wrong paper. During the traffic stop, Riviera Ruiz, he spoke broken English and could only show a picture of the title for the motorcycle. A bilingual officer arrived on the scene and provided interpretation. Riviera adamantly denied the temporary tag was counterfeit, but a computer check revealed the tag was not valid. Riviera was arrested on charges of fraud and possession of a counterfeit tag. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $2,650 bond. A repeat road rager nabbed last year at a Publix grocery store in the Villages has been sentenced to 6 months in jail. Grant Mitchell Patterson III, 32 of Bellevue, pleaded no contest this past week in Sumter County Court to a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. In addition to 6 months in jail, he has been placed on probation for 30 months and ordered to perform 100 hours of community service. This past September, a woman said she pulled into the Publix at Southern Chase Plaza when Patterson pulled into the parking lot next to her, according to the arrest report. The woman was not sure what had triggered the road rage incident, but was concerned when Patterson, whom she did not know, pulled into the parking lot and near where she was about to park. The woman said she rolled down her window in an attempt to smooth things over with Patterson. However, he displayed a big knife and called the woman a fat bitch. He threatened to cut her throat and said he would kill her with no problems. She was able to get a photo of him and a license plate of his vehicle. Patterson later returned to the store and was spotted by a deputy who took him into custody. In 2020, Patterson was arrested after displaying a knife in another road rage incident in the Villages. However, charges in that case were later dropped by the prosecutor's office. Beware. A site for a new restaurant will be considered for a second and final reading before the Lady Lake Commission. The plan for the restaurant was presented earlier this month to commissioners. The second and final reading will take place when commissioners meet at 6 p.m. Monday at Lady Lake Town Hall. The new restaurant will be located on 2.8 acres on County Road 25 between the historic site of the Villages and the lakes of Lady Lake. The owner of the restaurant is WGB Leasing LLC of Fruitland Park. The new restaurant will be a sports bar. There will be more than 100 parking spaces, including 5 handicap parking spots. Think about this. The Village is 150,000 people. There's a big percentage of them that need handicap parking because of disabilities. And this guy has 5. I don't know what the law reads on that, but I just think it's just stupid. But I was looking at this map, and yeah, I've been to the Blue Parrot campground years ago for a buddy of mine who wanted to know what it looked like, and I went over and I told him what I thought. I said I wouldn't park there. I said it looks like a bunch of people that live there, and I wouldn't trust it. So, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be just on behind the little red dotted line right there that you guys can see. That looks like that's where it's going to be, and I don't think it looks like there's going to be any golf cart accessibility there. I could be wrong. I suppose the restaurant itself might do that, or maybe Lady Lake would do it. I just don't think so. A driver lost control of a golf cart, which plunged into a pond in the Villages. The accident happened at about 10 a.m. on the 4th of July at a pond in the village of Chitty Chatty. After losing control of the golf cart, the driver either jumped out or fell out, according to the village's public safety department, which arrived on the scene. The driver did not go into the water. The driver declined treatment from the emergency crew. He probably thought, oh my God, we're going. I'm out of here. He didn't want to get wet. An unlicensed immigrant was arrested after a traffic stop for driving without headlights. I wonder why they call him an immigrant. They don't do that down here, unless they couldn't identify where this person's from. Julio Cesar Lopez Davila, 22 of Summerfield, was driving a silver Toyota Sienna at about 2:45 a.m. Tuesday when a deputy noticed the vehicle's headlights were not on and initiated a traffic stop on US 301 in Bellevue, according to the arrest report of the Marion County Sheriff's Office. Lopez Davila, who was alone in the vehicle, indicated he does not speak English, and the deputy used a translation app to communicate with him. He admitted he does not have a U.S. driver's license. He was taken into custody and charged with driving without a license and booked at the Marion County Jail on a $10,000 bond. The owner of a home for sale on the historic side of the Villages used her surveillance system to spot suspected thieves. The owner of the site-built home on East Swartz Boulevard in the village of Silver Lake was monitoring her surveillance system shortly before 11 p.m. Monday when she spotted suspicious activity in her yard, according to the arrest report of the Lady Lake Police Department. She suspected they were attempting to steal her plants. A trio of subjects left the scene in a black pickup. One officer spotted the pickup in the area of Rolling Acres Road and Oak Street. A traffic stop was initiated and the driver was identified as 43-year-old Samuel Sonder, who is homeless. A search of the pickup turned up methamphetamine and a used hypodermic needle. Saunders was arrested on charges of drug possession and possession of drug paraphernalia. The Pennsylvania native was taken into custody and booked at the Lake County Jail on a $3,000 bond. A villager driving a Mercedes was tracked down in the suspected theft of items from Walmart. Marilyn Patricia Turner, 79, of the village of St. Charles, was driving a white Mercedes SUV at about 2 p.m. on the 4th of July when she was pulled over on County Road 466 at Tall Trees Lane, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The deputy was investigating a theft at the store by a suspect wearing a pink shirt, which Turner also happened to be wearing, according to a report. The deputy spotted a curtain rod in the front seat, which was one of the items reportedly stolen. In the back seat were 2 cases of water, 2 6-packs of Coca-Cola, and other items. The deputy used a FaceTime to provide the Walmart loss prevention officer a live view of Turner. He confirmed it was the same woman who had been in the store and left without paying for the merchandise. The items had total value of $335. The Kansas native was found to have 2 previous theft convictions, one in 2017 and the other in 2018. Due to the previous convictions, she was arrested on a felony charge of theft. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $2,500 bond. You know, I read these all the time, and I always think there's more to this story. An elderly lady living in the Villages, which ain't the cheapest place to live. She drives a Mercedes, which ain't the cheapest car to drive. And yes, she's shoplifting. And I look at what she took. And I just sometimes wonder the rest of the story, so to speak. A villager was arrested after flipping his golf cart and fleeing the scene of the crash. Gary Stephen Brult, 58, who lives at 908 Aloha Way on the historic site of the Villages, was found hiding in the bushes after his golf cart flipped over at about 10 a.m. the 4th of July at El Camino Real and Cesars Avenue, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Department. A guard at the entrance of the village of Santo Domingo told the deputies that she saw Brute driving the golf cart, which had flipped. The golf cart key was found in his pocket. It appeared that the Highlands, New York native had been drinking, and he admitted he had consumed 5 beers. He refused to participate in field sobriety exercises. An unopened 99 espresso coffee 99 proof liquor bottle was found in a golf cart center cup holder. An open bottle of 99 pineapple liquor was found near the golf cart's brake pedal. BREAULT was transported to the UF Health Emergency Room Clinic at Brownwood for a medical evaluation. While he was there, a deputy noticed that it appeared that Brelt had urinated his shorts. He refused to provide breath samples. He was arrested on charges of driving under the influence and hit and run. He was booked at the Comfort County Detention Center where a hold was put on his custody by New York authorities. More than 3,500 villagers have signed a petition calling for the reopening of the movie theater at Brownwood. Beatrice McCarthy of the nearby Alden Bungalows has been a driving force behind the online petition effort. Despite the residents' obvious desire to reopen the now dormant Barnstorm Theater, the petition has been ignored by the powers that be, McCarthy said. She said even though it was sent to the developer, district government, the village's Daily Sun, and the village's entertainment offices, there has been no response. The Barnstorm Theater closed during the COVID-19 pandemic. The portion of the theater was reopened when it was used as a treatment center. In 2023, Vice President of Community Relations, Gary Lester, in a closed-door town hall meeting conducted by the village's homeowners advocates, made it clear that the Barnstorm Theater is to remain closed unless there is a national resurgence in movie theater attendance and the unbridled American appetite for streaming at home starts to level off. Simple. The Rialto Theater at Spanish Springs Town Square, the original movie theater in the Villages, is being converted to a gym. The lone movie theater operating in the Villages is the Old Mill Playhouse at Lake Sumter Landing. With a population of approximately 140,000 people residing here, it is evident that relying on just one theater is simply not enough, the petition said. Listen, I like going to them also. I don't go to movie theaters much anymore because people just don't know how to shut up. They sit in there and they talk back and forth while the movie theater's playing, especially the elderly people. They're almost the worst. They get their cell phones out, they sit to playing with them, texting somebody. I sat behind a lady one time that had a conversation on a cell phone. So that's why I don't go anymore. A villager who stole more than $3 million from fellow residents will be allowed to remove his court-ordered GPS monitoring device for a medical procedure. John Michael Gassas, 73, of the village of Gilchrist, is scheduled to undergo the MRI on July 17th, and the procedure cannot be performed unless he is allowed to remove the GPS, which has been ordered as a condition of his bond release. An attorney representing Gassas argues his client is not a flight risk according to a motion on file in Sumter County Court. He notes that Gassas has put up his home for collateral. Lastly, Mr. Gassas's wife is also elderly and uses a walker for mobility. Mr. Gassas is not a flight risk, and he would be required to abandon his wife for many years to homelessness, the motion said. Well, I don't know about that. Where's the $3 million? According to the investigation that led to the arrest of Gassas, placed ads in the village's Daily Sun inviting residents to his investment seminars. And they had the seminar at the Waterfront Inn and the VKI Japanese Steakhouse at Lake Sumter Landing. A village's couple saw the ad in 2019 and attended Gassas' seminar. They gave him $529,854 and never got a penny of it back. Who does that? Another villager lost $794,000 when she invested with Gassas. A total of 27 investors lost a total of $3.7 million with Gassas, according to the investigation report. There were said to be others who either could not be contacted or were too embarrassed to go on the record. The financial crimes investigator for the Florida Office of Financial Regulation found that Gassas, from May 2018 to July 2020, systematically deceived and took advantage of the victims. Beware. Okay, how many holes in ones of golf did we get this week? Well, it looks like one. Villager Kevin Robertson, golfing with his usual group, scored his fourth hole-in-one this week at hole number 4 at the Oakley Executive Golf Course. He celebrated by picking up the check for breakfast with his pals. Way to go. That's class for you right there. Nice hole-in-one, Kevin. I'm sure your buddies appreciated breakfast. How about a couple 3 letters to the editor this week? To the editor. Live like a millionaire on a retirement budget. A safe place for senior citizens on fixed incomes to live out their retirement years. Spoken by Harold Schwartz, the original developer of the Villages. Please, thousands of us need our amenities rate caps back and our maintenance fees roll back in order to stay in our homes. This is a nightmare. We planned well for our retirement, but now Villages management keeps moving the goalpost. With more and more fees and 25% increases, we now have a date circled on our calendar when all our money will be gone. We pray you will never have to see that on your calendar. That's sent in by Lisa Anders from the village of Chatham. Thanks for the letter, Lisa. Hang in there. Maybe things will get better. I don't know. To the editor. I have lived in the Villages for 23 years and I am very concerned about the amenities going out of reach for people on fixed incomes. We want to enjoy our homes until we are called out of this world. But it seems that things are getting out of hand and costs are rising. You are pricing the elderly out of their homes and that is unfair. We have worked hard all of our lives to enjoy retirement and now find ourselves having to return to work just to stay in our homes. We need a cap on our amenities so we can stay. That's sent in by Eileen Gomes, the village of Country Club Hills. Well, Eileen, I hear you. To the editor, I have been to the squares many times. I have witnessed things like a young man kicking the fence railings enough to rip it loose. Another time, some young ladies from Wildwood were in the bathroom kicking the stall doors open while locked to be funny with friends. They broke too. My question is, who pays for the damages that takes place? That's sent in for Chris Martin from the village of St. John's. Well, Chris, we do. It's called maintenance. I've mentioned this about it being open to the public. This is the point I'm trying to get across to people. Just like the $1 million we spent to shore up the bridge up Morse on Morse Boulevard up by Lake Sumter Landing. It's a public road, so it's a public bridge. But we paid $1 million to shore it up. I don't understand all the agreements around here, but that's the way it's going. And also, how do you know they're from Wildwood? Did you talk to these kids that was tearing up the doors and knocking the fence down? You say they're from Wildwood. How do you know they're from Wildwood? I'm just curious about this. Sometimes people make statements because they assume, and we know how that always works out. But I do get the point. Damages has happened from outsiders and they don't pay anything. And we pay everything. I don't know the answer. I really don't. And our fees keep going up and keep going up and keep going up. And I don't want to blame it all on the developer. Sometimes he's out of control on this stuff. You got a Wildwood commission over there, a Sumter County commission over there that's approving all of this stuff, making the highways more and more crowded, all the taxes going up. They vote for all that over there. You can't blame that on the developer when you say, well, your taxes are going up. You got to do something. He works with the Wildwood commission. And that's the way it goes down here in a good old boy system. You don't have to agree. I really don't care if you agree. That's just the way it is. Well, I think that's going to be the news for this week. As always, all my news is dedicated to my Patreon members. Those guys is what makes all this possible for you to watch. And if you'd like to help support the news and my channel and the people to help me on this channel, you can do so by just simply joining Patreon. Be a Patreon member. Your little monthly donation to our channel is what helps provide all of this. So Patreon members and YouTube members, I prefer Patreon, but if you can't do that, if you want to do the YouTube membership, it's very easy. Underneath every video that I've got, and I've got well over 2,000 of them, is a join button. So just click that and then go right straight to the levels, and the cheapest level on YouTube, I believe, is $5 a month. And to become a YouTube member, they'll notify me. And then you'll get the invitations that the YouTube members do get once in a while. But be a Patreon member, you can get on as cheap as $2 a month. And with $2 a month, you get access to a 24/7 Discord. It's a private Discord for my Patreon members only. You get access to the news early, anything else I do early. And then you also get things on there that you don't see anywhere else. By the way, everything on Patreon and YouTube is commercial free. You don't have to deal with any of that. And I know the commercials on YouTube are getting worse. I know they are. I am not in control of that. So if you don't want to deal with the commercials, hey, for $2, go to Patreon. For $5, if you can't figure out Patreon, then you can just go to YouTube, and that's very simple. Hit the join button, and it takes you right to where you need to be, and you just do whatever you want to do, and they'll notify me, and then I'll put your name on the thank you list. So with that being said, I hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. It was busy down here. As I'm doing this, Scooter right now is at a chocolate factory somewhere. I don't know what they're doing. I have to do this, and so I don't get the chance to do hardly any of it. Be safe, be well, be aware. See you on the other side.
And don't leave that key in the golf cart.
Okay, I've kept it a secret long enough, and for all of you who enjoy the bad parking in the villages, you're going to enjoy this. Sit back, relax, watch them, see if you can pick out the bad parking in the villages and what they've done wrong. See you on the other side.